So recently I had the opportunity to speak with one of my favorite members of Congress, Representative Earl Blumenauer. He is a progressive congressman. He's always been on the right side of basically every single issue. And basically my goal was to ask him if, he was going to be endorsing Bernie Sanders because his ideas are right in line with what Bernie wants. So I failed miserably to get him to say that he's going to endorse Bernie Sanders. Now, I didn't really try to convince him. It was a very brief interaction, right? But I was very disappointed and disheartened by my brief conversation. So the first thing that I did was, I thanked him for actually not being corrupt like everyone else in Congress, for not giving in to corporate interests, right? And he said thank you, but he kind of had like this weird look, like, what are you talking about? Corruption in Washington? Like, he really didn't believe that, his colleagues are very corrupt, even though he's a progressive and, he doesn't appear to be beholden to the special interest groups. He was kind of puzzled by that, I could tell by the look on his face. So that puzzled me, because it's like, how do you not know? I mean, Citizens United, 6-year anniversary, money in politics, it's not evident. And then, so I asked him, I said, look, you're really close to Bernie Sanders, right, in terms of your political ideology, in terms of what you advocate for. You've been called a socialist and whatnot. And he basically said, look, I've known Bernie Sanders for 20 years. I've worked with Secretary Clinton, but I really think that Hillary Clinton is going to be the nominee. And he also stated that he thinks that Hillary Clinton would be better at forming a government. So basically, I was really disappointed. And he also said that he thinks that, Hillary Clinton has the best chance of winning, when that's not true. I even brought up the fact that, Bernie Sanders beats Trump by over 20 points in hypothetical matchups. And, he didn't really have a response for that. So basically, this is what I took away from this overall interaction. I came to the conclusion that people in Washington, it doesn't matter how progressive they are. It doesn't matter, what they advocate and how well they represent their constituents. When you're in Washington, you are in a bubble that is so thick that you can't potentially even imagine or fathom what your constituents might think about the aggregate political establishment. So I don't know whether or not Blumenauer could be part of the political establishment. I would say he's probably anti-establishment, but I think that, because they're his colleagues, because he's been there for years and years and years, I don't think he can see what we see. They can't be introspective. They can't look within themselves and see, look, we do appear corrupt, right? Even Chief Justice John Roberts on the Supreme Court in the McCutcheon case stated that campaign contributions, they're not only not corrupt, but they don't even give the appearance of corruption. So, it doesn't matter if they're, how progressive they are. They all go with that Washington consensus. Whatever they're told by the mainstream media, they agree with. The fact that Hillary Clinton is inevitable. Look, it is the case that Hillary Clinton is currently in a better position than Bernie Sanders to win, but that doesn't mean that she's inevitable. It's neck and neck right now. It's anyone's game in Iowa and New Hampshire. So it's just weird to me that, people in Washington, they just cannot see what we see. And, I wasn't going there to try to persuade him to vote for Bernie Sanders. I was just trying to make, I was trying to make the point that, look, you're close to Bernie Sanders. He's close to you in terms of ideology, in terms of how you guys have worked well together in Congress. So, why not endorse him? Why not help him? Because, everyone is jumping over themselves to endorse Hillary Clinton in Congress. So why not help Bernie Sanders? If you're close to him, do it. And it's because they haven't gotten it out of their head that, Hillary Clinton is not inevitable. This was the same case in 2008 when everyone thought that Hillary Clinton was inevitable and nobody wanted to, support Barack Obama. That changed, but everybody thought she was inevitable. And because they're afraid, they don't want to be left out of the political status quo in Washington by endorsing the wrong candidate if Clinton becomes president. So it's just weird. That's what I took away from it, is that it doesn't matter what your ideology is in Congress. You can't really relate to the American people. You don't see what we see. So I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the takeaway is from this, but I just wanted to share my experience and why I'm disappointed. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic about this, but the fact of the matter is that I just feel as though people in Washington, even if they aren't beholden to corporate interests, they still don't see what we see. They still have that establishment mentality, and it's really frustrating because that's not the way that normal Americans think.